G'day guys, MBS here. Look, while I was here doing all this work on this engine, I thought I'd take the opportunity of doing a rough and dirty rocker geometry check. Okay, I'm not going to adjust it. I know what I'm going to have to do after I do the check. So yeah, all I'm going to be using is a little ruler like this. It's a little metric ruler, so I've converted everything over to metric from the measurements. And we're going to be looking at this engine from the back and dead in line with the plane of the valves and the rockers, and we'll be able to see the angles from there. Alright, but remember, it's rough and dirty. It'll get us within half a mil, which wouldn't be too bad for a rough and dirty. Obviously, if I wanted to do this properly, I'd be doing it in a totally different way, and I haven't got the gear to do that unfortunately anymore, because I'd have to have a modified pair of lifters that would become solid so that I could actually turn the engine over and observe full lift and half lift and all that sort of stuff. So this is a rough and dirty calculation where we mark the valve with some yellow paint so you can see the angles. I've got half lift marked, I've got full lift marked, and I've got the fulcrum marked on the rocker arm, and we'll have a look at it. Okay, so I'll turn this engine around and we'll get a look at it from the other end. Okay folks, surprise surprise, look, we've had a bit of an audio failure when I was doing this segment showing the rocker angles and everything like that, so I figured we'll try and resurrect it from the computer desk while I'm editing it. I think I can do a pretty good job of explaining this to you. Now look, I'm going to be covering old ground, of course. I've done quite a few articles on 202 geometry and lifter adjustment. This will probably be the last one that I'm going to do on the subject. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in onto the rocker, and we're going to see how good my little tiny ruler was when I did all the measurements, and we'll go from there. Okay, as you can see, I've created a few yellow marks on the rocker and the valve retainer. That is the fulcrum point, that yellow dot there. We've got full lift marked here, and you can see that I've gone down about 11 mil from the top of the valve stem to the bottom of that line, around about 11 mil, which gives us the standard, the biggest cam that the XU-1s came out with was 0.456, and that close to 11 mil. And we've marked half lift on the actual retainer itself. Alright, now you've seen all my other videos, you know the story. I say that 90 degrees up the valve stem at half lift should go through the fulcrum point. Alright, first of all we've got to check that the fulcrum point is accurate, yeah? So, because I did this with a ruler on the day, just this little fella. So yeah, my angles could be out, so we're going to double check it. Now I've got to add at this point, I'm looking straight down the cylinder head. You can see the thermostat housing in the background. If you're looking at it from the other way, thermostat housing, you're not going to get this view, okay? You're not going to be able to visualise it and mark it correctly. Also, if the engine is sitting in the car, you're going to have a radiator coming up to about there somewhere, and it'll block your view, getting a straight line view, okay? So it's important, I guess, that you need to have a straight line view of this to make it work out, and generally if you're doing rocker geometry adjustments, you'll probably be doing this on a bench or on an engine stand, okay? Alright, let's check my fulcrum point first, make sure it's accurate. Okay, that is pretty damn good, you can see it there. I'm going to mark it with the red pen right on my computer screen. Okay, I don't know if that dot will come out, but that is pretty close there. So I've done a reasonable job marking that fulcrum point. Now, the big bit, 90 degrees down the valve stem, okay. At half lift, let's get this right, let's see how close we can get it. Okay, and we'll, oops, bloody monitor moved on me. Let's do this again now. My shoulder is probably in the way. I reckon we're close to there. I'm going to jump in front of the camera here and just get a good look at this. Alright, confirmed. There is our fulcrum point. There is our half lift, 90 degrees to the valve stem, and it passes below the fulcrum point. So angle A, which is your closed valve angle, compared to angle B, is going to be very different. Alright, and let's have a look at angle A, shall we? Bottom of the ruler there, it's pretty shallow, isn't it? Okay, and have a look at full lift compared to it, way down there like so. Bottom of that line. So yeah, in a normal 186 situation you'd say the push rod's too long, but that doesn't apply to the 202. To fix this, we have to grind that pedestal post to bring that dot there in line with the centre of the fulcrum when this is at half lift. Of course, when you do that, you're going to have to shorten the push rod, otherwise the push rod's going to go too deep into the hydraulic lifter. Alright, so this has worked out really well. So I was pretty accurate with that little old ruler and just point of view looking at it straight down there. So that's worked out quite well. And that's what we're chasing, guys. And I've said it many times before, I'm trying not to repeat myself from other lessons, but I mean, if you've never seen any of my other videos, then I'm going to sort of have to repeat a few things. So you've got to understand, the only engine I've ever tested this right angle, half lift, is the 202 engine and the 186 engine. The only two engines I've tested, so if you've got a Ford or Chrysler, anything else, this may not work for you. So it's only pertinent to the Holden motor, because that's all I have ever tested. Well, there you go. Look, if you've seen the previous video to this and the one previous to that, you know that my valve stem heights are all different on this engine. They're all over the place. So we will never ever try and attempt to grind these posts down to match them, because they never will. The valve stem heights have to be equal, and if you want even valve spring pressures as well, you're going to have to make sure your retainer heights are all the same height as well. So very poor cylinder head on this engine. So yeah, we're not going to be touching rocket geometry on this. All we can do is, you know, that we've changed the push rod to a shorter push rod again from the standard 202 to make up for the shaving of the cylinder head and the deck. Okay, so you've got to remember that push rod length only changes hydraulic lifter adjustment. It has nothing to do with the rocket geometry on a 202. Alright, if you want to change the rocket geometry on a 202 using the standard pedestal posts, you either shim them up or you grind them down. It's the only way you can change the geometry. Oh, apart from your head reconditioner, obviously changing the valve stem heights will affect your rocket geometry as well. So you don't do anything as far as rocket geometry adjustments go until you get your head back, and then you play with rocket geometry, as long as the valve stem heights are all even. Okay, and that would be it for that. I've got a few more comments, I probably repeated them anyway, further on in this video when the mic started working, when I discovered that they cut out. Alright, so we'll go back to the rest of the video and finish it off. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Now remember, this isn't to my standard doing it like this. This was just a rough idea to see if this actually needed something done. And as you could see with my rough measurement, yeah, okay, I really need to shave a post down. But I don't have a milling machine anymore to do that sort of stuff. You certainly wouldn't do that by hand, because you could never rub it square. Okay, you don't rub it square, you've destroyed that post. You'll destroy your rockers. Okay, so you really need a milling machine if you're going to be grinding these posts down. And of course, once we do that, if we take a mil or so off the post, you're going to push the push rod down deeper into the motor. Yeah, so we probably have to go shorter push rods again. These are already 40th hour shorter, as you would expect, because there's about 40th hour removed from the head and the block. So we put a shorter push rod in to compensate for that. But yeah, so yeah, if we shave the post down 1 mil, we're probably going to have to put a push rod in it that's a little bit more than 1 mil shorter again. All right, just so it's not pushing the plunger into the hydraulic lifter too much. Okay, you don't really want to go more than halfway down into the lifter as a general rule. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Remember, it's rough and dirty. If you want to do it properly, you definitely go about this a different way. Catch you in another video.